what Chazal tell us about a kanoi? Do Chazal tell us that a kanoi, that really lechatchila shouldn't be a kanoi? But if someone has fire in his veins, such a person has reshus to be a kanoi. Or maybe not. Maybe Hashem wants that we should really all be kanoim. No, but if you don't have it in you, so, you're not mechuyev. But what's the real ratzon? Is the ratzon Hashem kanois or not? Naturally, if our maskana will be that we want to be kanoim, so we'll all become kanoim. If that's ratzon Hashem, so perish the thought, right? But we'd all become kanoim if that's what the Rebbeinu Shalom would want. So let's start with the Dvar Halacha. Let's see what Chazal tell us. And let me tell you what I want to share with you tonight is the yisroel that says Reb Chaim shmulevitz in Sichos Musar, in the first Shana Rishayna of the Sichos Musar, in a piece entitled Oyev Esabriyos Umekarvan L'Torah. And I've told you before, the Sichos Musar is an unusual sefer, because Reb Chaim shmulevitz was not a mashgiach. He was a magid shir, he was a lamdin, he was famous for his lamdis. Reb Chaim shmulevitz was agav dada kanoi. He was a man with a fantastic sense of humor. And I'm sure in Shamayim today he looks down that everyone remembers him for his musa shmuzin. I'm sure he's laughing. Because his whole life he was known as a lamdin. But you should know the musa shmuzin are full of lamdis. And when he says innocently, if you learn a sugi in Gemara, the yisroel that I'd like to share with you tonight says in Sichos Musar, Rav Moshe brings it down in the Igros Moshe and Tshuva b'shem Reb Shlomo Hayman to explain the Gemara. Let's start from the beginning. The kanoi in Chumash is Pinchas. From Pinchas we learn out an unusual concept, kanoi and paigim boy. That a kanoi who sees a yid who's being mizaneh publicly with a guy is permitted to pick up a sword and kill the yid. The yid is not chayiv misa. If you take him to Bezdin, he's not chayiv misa for znus with a guy. But a kanoi has a right to pick up a sword and to kill the guy. Kanoi and paigim boy. The shaila is this a reshus? A kanoi, if he wants, he could kill him. And if he wants, he cannot kill him. Or is a kanoi mekayim a mitzvah when he kills him? Is it a mitzvah or not? The din of kanoi and paigim boy is not brought down in Shulchan Aruch. And the Chelkas Mechaykek and Even Ezer Simita Zayins have gotten Dalit asks, why does the Shulchan Aruch leave out the concept of kanoi and paigim boy, that you have a right to kill somebody who's mizana? The Ramah brings it in Chayshim Mishpat and in Tufafei, and the Mechaber leaves it out. Why? So in the Excerp Paiskim and Even Ezer, he brings those who answer, because kanoi and paigim boy is a reshus. You have a right to kill him. It's not a mitzvah. If it's not a mitzvah, Shulchan Aruch doesn't have to bring it down. Reshusin, the Shulchan Aruch doesn't have to bring it. This is also the opinion of the Mishnah Lamelech in the first parak of Hilchos Reitzeach. And he brings a raya that kanoi and paigim boy is a reshus. It's not a mitzvah. What's his raya? The Gemara says that when Pinchas went to kill Zimri, because Zimri was being mizana, so the Gemara says in Sanhedrin Daf Pei Beis, Hafach Zimri v'hargai lePinchas. If Zimri had turned around and he had killed Pinchas, so he would have been pater. Pinchas came to kill him. If he had turned around and killed Pinchas, he'd be pater. If it's a mitzvah, if it's a mitzvah for him to kill him, so how could Zimri kill Pinchas? He's mitzvah to kill him. It's a right, it's a reshus. If it's a reshus, he can turn around and defend himself. There's a second raya that it's a reshus, because the Gemara says, kanoi and paigim boy. What happens if someone's being mizana with a guy before Hesi, and a yid comes to Bezdin and he asks a shaila, am I allowed to kill him? So the Gemara says it's halacha ve'ein meirin kain. It's halacha, he's permitted to kill him, but ein meirin kain. If someone asks a shaila, so we don't tell him the psak. So there are all kinds of vertlach on it. But lemaisa, if it would be a mitzvah, how can we say ein meirin kain? He asks us a shaila, so we have to tell him a psak halacha. How could it be ein meirin kain? Is a raya that it's not a mitzvah. It's a reshus. If it's a reshus, oh well, we don't tell people to kill people. But these are rayas that it's a rishus, and it would stem, it would fit with the lashon of the Raman, Chashem Mishpat, who says, Kana'im paigim by, umutarim lahargai. He says, mutarim. He doesn't say mitzvah lahargai. He says, mutarim lahargai. But really, this is a very difficult shita. To say Kana'im paigim by is only a rishus. So if you look in the Rav Sadia Gaon's Hagdama, in the Hagdama to the Sefer Mitzvahs of Rav Sadia Gaon, Chela Gimel, the Hagdama is not from Rav Sadia Gaon, it's from a 20th century scholar, Talmud Chacham. But in the Hagdama, so Rav Perlau writes in Chela Gimel, Hagdama to Chela Gimel, Simin Yud Ches, he dismisses B'shtei Yadayim. How could you say it's a rishus? How could you say killing him is a rishus? Does it make sense that it's a rishus to kill someone? That means it's just as much Ratzon Hashem. You should kill him, you shouldn't. And then you should go kill him? It doesn't make sense. If it's not Ratzon Hashem, Dafka, that you should kill somebody, Ritzicha, we're going to be mad at Ritzicha, Rishus. There is no Kamat, no Rishus in Ritzicha. How could it be such a concept? And furthermore, if it's only a Rishus, so Malachol Etzara Hazais, why would anybody kill? It's a Rishus to go kill him. That means you're not going to get scar, it's not Ratzon Hashem. Just as much Hashem, you don't kill him and you do kill him. So why would anybody go and kill him? You know, it's dangerous to go and kill somebody. Why would anybody do it? Furthermore, there's a Chidushei Haran in Sanhedrin Daf Pei Beis. It says, Beferish, it's a mitzvah. The Yad Ramayasha mentioned in Sanhedrin Pei Beis seems to say it's a Rishus. But the Chidushei Haran says, Beferish, it's a mitzvah. And Rav Sadia Gaon, in the Sefer HaMitzvahs, when he brings down the mitzvah of Kana'im paigim by, so his language is, Hishbati kol mekanai l'shmi l'fgoya b'bayal basel neicher. Hishbati kol mekanai l'shmi, I forsworn a kanai that he should kill a basel neicher. That means that Hishbati, that it's a Ratzon Hashem. So therefore, he goes out to show that it has to be that it's a mitzvah. Naturally, when we have Chalukei Deis, we try to find a pshara. How do you find a pshara, a middle ground, to say that to be a kanoi and to kill, it's a mitzvah, and it's a rishus? Is it a mitzvah? If it's a mitzvah, it means Hashem wants us to be kanoim. It means really HaKadosh Baruch Hu would prefer that we be mekanei l'shem Hashem. If it's a rishus, it means Hashem doesn't prefer it, but you know, you will zayin a kanoi, so be a kanoi. But how can we find middle ground? So chaim shmulevitz, and as I mentioned, the Gris Moshe, it's in Even Ezer Chelik Aleph, the beginning of Siman Lamed Ches, say a big yisroel. Now the yisroel itself might sound familiar, but listen to how they apply it. Their yisroel is that a person can only be a kanoi if he's doing his action purely l'shem kanos, l'kvod Hashem. In other words, Pinchas did it only l'kvod Hashem. That was his only desire in killing Zimri. Let's say the person doing it, he's a kanoi l'kvod Hashem, but also it's a bezayim for his mishpacha. Zimri is his first cousin, it's a bezayim for his family. For him it's an aveira. Listen to what Rav Moshe says. You have a person that's being mizana. Pinchas is mizana with Zimri rather is mizana. Kanam paigim bay. Let's say Ruvain would have gone over to kill Zimri. So Zot Rav Moshe, if a different person goes over, and we know this person is not a kanoi l'shem Hashem. Let's say we're Mozik, Stam a Yid who goes to kill, we have to assume he's a kanoi. Let's say we know he's not a kanoi purely l'shem Hashem. And he goes over to kill him, Zot Rav Moshe, it's a mitzvah to kill this Ruvain. This person going to kill Zimri. He's a Raidif. He's a Reitzeach. He's going to be Chayav Misa. So that means if someone else goes to kill Zimri, you have a mitzvah to kill this other person. Now 1 minute later, if you're a kanoi, you have a mitzvah to kill Zimri also. It's a halfly v'pella. You have a mitzvah, Pinchas would see someone else running over to kill Zimri. So he has a mitzvah to kill the other person to save Zimri's life. And then a minute later, he has a mitzvah to kill Zimri. Are you talking? The answer is, when the other person's killing Zimri, he's a Reitzayach. He has no right to kill. There's no kanoi paigim by. A real kanoi could do it. The Chaim Sefer says, Pshat in the Pasuk, it says, in the pasuk that if Zimri had not killed, Pinchas rather had not killed Zimri, so the pasuk tells us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu thanks Pinchas for Leichilisias b'nei Yisrael b'kinasi. Otherwise, I would Leichilisias b'nei Yisrael, I would have killed Yidden. It's not some sort for you know why? Because if Pinchas went to kill Zimri, a different Yid would have killed him. Shalai l'shem shamayim. And then it would have been a tragedy. Then it would have been Ritzicha. A real kanoi whose kavanah is purely l'shem shamayim, he has a right. But nobody else. Zok Reb Chaim shmulevitz. This is the teretz to these rayas. Why is it halacha vein myrin came? A person comes to his bezdin a shayla. Kanam paigam, could I kill him? We have not yet invented a thermometer that you put in a person's mouth and you see if it's a kanoi l'shem Hashem or not l'shem Hashem. We don't know. Someone criticizes you, you don't know if it's l'shem Hashem or not, unless he's somebody who doesn't like you in the first place. But otherwise you don't know. How could Bezdin Paskin you have a right to kill him? If he's not a kanoi, he's a ritzayah. If he's a kanoi purely l'shem Hashem, he's not. That's why it's halacha vein myrin came. The Gemara doesn't say that Zimri has a right to turn around and kill Pinchas. No. It doesn't say Rishai Zimri to turn around and kill Pinchas. No, it doesn't say that. It says Im ha'pach Zimri v'hargei lePinchas. If Zimri had nepach and he turned around and killed Pinchas, he'd be potter. Why would he be potter? Because Bezdin can never prove if Pinchas is purely l'shem shamayim or not. So if Zimri turns around and kills Pinchas, we can't prove if Pinchas is purely l'shem shamayim, and then he's not a rider, or not purely l'shem shamayim. So Memela, we can never know. So that's why we couldn't kill Zimri. So the Yisayid Adavar is that in order to be a kanoi, it's very limited. Very few of us here are eligible to be kanoim. You have to be purely and totally l'shem Hashem. The Teres Chaim in Sanhedrin says, that's Pshat in Rashi. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu thanks Pinchas, the kanoi is kinasim zok Rashi. B'kotzvai ha'ketzef shahaya li liktzayf. What does that mean? Think. Hashem said, not I thank you for killing him. I thank you because haketzef. You, Pinchas, were angry with that anger, shahaya li liktzayf, that Hashem says I should have been angry. That means that Pinchas' anger was purely the anger kaviyachol of the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's when someone could be a kanoi, when he's mekanei l'shem Hashem. If you want to be a kanoi, or you want to look favorably at kanois, kanois l'shem Hashem comes mitoich ahava, from love. Kanois that's not from love is not an accurate kanois. That's l'shem something else, and it doesn't work. The Satmar Rebbe used to say, the Satmar Rebbe was the greatest kanoi against Zionism. And the Satmar Rebbe used to tell his Hasidim, you should know why I'm a kanoi against Eretz Yisrael, because they have such great ava for Eretz Yisrael. It's only someone who had a tremendous ava that could be a kanoi. You want to hear the Satmar Rebbe, the kanoi of the Dar, Maisa Shahaya.